Hey there, it's Wendy Cummins, and I want to talk a little bit today about how to deal with what's going on in this world and stay in a positive place. I don't know about you, but being on Facebook and other social media, I get exposed to a lot of world affairs. I got off media a long time ago. I'm 50 years old, and when I was 20 years old, I stopped watching television, and there was a reason behind it that I'm not going to go into right now, but really just got clear that it wasn't what I wanted to be going into my mind was, this stuff on the TV and things that I didn't know was going in my, was being presented, subliminal stuff. So basically I got off of the TV, and over the years I've been on and off media, but pretty much decided to let go of newspapers and news and things like that because I realized that I didn't believe what I was being taught or being told, especially when I was able to do a little research on the internet and find out that in other countries they weren't necessarily stating the same news that we were here in the United States. And, I must admit I got into some conspiracy theory simply because I was witnessing things and experiencing things, and what was being presented wasn't in alignment with what I was experiencing. And could go into a lot of details about it, but I'm not going to. Suffice to say that a lot of the things 15 years ago that I was studying are now actually mainstream. It's mainstream understanding now. And back then, people say, "Oh yeah, like chemtrails, for example. You're just making it up or whatever," and had a lot of information about that. And now it's mainstream understanding that the clouds are in fact being seeded, and they are being seeded with things that have aluminum particles and things in them, and it's hard to refute that that's a quote unquote conspiracy theory at this time. So just a tiny bit of background. So with the social media and Facebook in particular, information can get shared in a moment. So all over the world, people are sharing information, and I feel like I'm getting, more educated on what is actually going on. And given that I am a mother and I am, committed to consciousness and personal and spiritual growth, some of these things that are happening are near and dear to my heart. And one of the things that's happening that we are aware of, and hopefully you are, is, the Fukushima and what's going on in Japan. And, boy, it's, how do you hold that? How do you hold whether you're getting the correct information or not? Is the Pacific Ocean actually getting contaminated or not? Is the fish contaminated that we're eating? So I find myself in any given moment tuning into that and realizing I don't know what the truth is. And I'll go and do some research, and one website says this, one website says that. Go into some of the newspapers overseas and see what they're saying, which is not what our newspapers are reporting. So just, how do you hold that? Well, I was finding that I was waking up and feeling some panic, like my heart would be beating, my mind would start going like, oh my gosh, and so I started this practice. And the practice has been when I wake up in the morning and I feel that energy, just, I'm still laying in bed, and I just take a couple of deep breaths and I tune into my heart. And I take a deep breath. So why don't you do this with me? Taking a deep breath, maybe closing your eyes and breathing into your heart space, like really breathing into your chest cavity and expanding it, and taking a minute. And I just feel love for myself. Just really like how I would love my son, love myself that way. And I think about what's actually going on in that moment. And in that moment, I'm laying in bed. Hopefully I'm warm. I actually feel good. I've got, organic food in the refrigerator. I have, income coming in. I have a loving partner. have a beautiful family, and I just am breathing into the reality of what is present right now. And what that does is that it gets me into a place inside of myself where I am present with what is happening in the moment. Because that's really all we have. And I notice if my mind starts going and thinking about all this other stuff, that my body follows it. So my heart will start racing again and my mind will start going. So I found it really, really helpful to tune into my breath and breathe into my heart and look around and see what's happening right here, right now. And I find that my heart rate normalizes, my mind gets focused on the breath and what's happening in this moment, and I can tune into joy, and that I really actually feel happy, and life's really good. And whatever is happening in other parts of the world, I can send a prayer out to them. My intention is for goodness all over the earth, for people to every moment to be taking steps that are constructive steps to, creating life and maintaining life in a beautiful way. And as I continue to put that out, that is what is on my mind. So, I hope that in any given moment, if you're feeling panicky or stressed about what's going on, that you can take a minute and breathe into your heart and love yourself and look around and see what's happening and tune into your joy and put a good thought out for the earth, for the people on this earth, for our relatives in the ocean, and know that, we can choose to be in love in any given moment. So I hope you're having a beautiful day.